Let's get real for a second. Most people are too cowardly to tell you to your face that they don't like you. Instead, they hide behind fake smiles, hollow compliments, and forced politeness. I've been there too, thinking someone was a friend, only to discover they were secretly hoping for my downfall. It's brutal, but here's the truth. If you don't recognize the signs, you'll waste your time and energy on people who, deep down, don't truly care about you. So let's cut through the BS and talk about the 7 signs someone dislikes you, but is hiding it. You might not like what you hear, but it's better to face the truth than live in denial. 1. They're always joking about your flaws. We all know that person, the one who loves to joke, especially when the joke is on you. They'll pick at your quirks, your mistakes, your little imperfections, and they do it with a smile, saying, "I'm just messing with you." It seems harmless at first, but let's not kid ourselves. These jokes are often calculated digs, cleverly disguised as humor, meant to chip away at your self-esteem bit by bit. I remember a time when I was close to someone who always had something to say about me. How I dressed, the way I spoke, even the projects I was working on. At first, I laughed it off, thinking it was all in good fun. But as time went on, I noticed a pattern. The jokes were always aimed at my perceived weaknesses, never at my strengths. It wasn't long before I started second-guessing myself, wondering if maybe I was the problem. Here's the hard truth. People who consistently joke about your flaws aren't doing it out of affection. They're testing the waters to see how much disrespect you'll take. It's a subtle form of manipulation, a way for them to assert dominance while keeping you in your place. They're telling you, in no uncertain terms, that you're beneath them. But here's the thing. You don't have to take it. True friends don't need to point out your flaws to feel better about themselves. They celebrate your strengths and help you work through your weaknesses without making you the butt of the joke. So the next time someone makes a joke at your expense, don't just laugh it off. Ask yourself, is this really funny or is there something more going on here? And if the answer is the latter, don't be afraid to call them out. Your self-respect is worth far more than their misguided sense of humor. 2. Their compliments sting like insults. We've all been there. Someone gives you a compliment, but instead of feeling good, you're left with a bitter aftertaste. It's the kind of compliment that makes you pause and think, wait, was that a compliment or an insult? And here's the harsh reality. Often it's a bit of both. I remember sharing a project I was incredibly proud of with a group of colleagues. One of them, someone I thought was a supporter, said with a smile, "Wow, this is actually pretty good for someone like you." On the surface, it seemed like a compliment, but those last few words, "for someone like you," hit me like a ton of bricks. What did that even mean? Was I not supposed to be capable of doing good work? Here's the controversial truth. These so-called compliments are laced with a hidden agenda. They're not meant to uplift you. They're designed to keep you in your place. It's a power play, a way for the person giving the compliment to assert their superiority while making you doubt your own abilities. They're saying, "I see you trying, but you'll never be as good as me." But here's the thing. You don't have to accept this disguised hostility. When someone says, "You're smarter than you look," or "This is good, considering you're new at this," don't let it slide. Call it out for what it is. Respond with something like, "Thanks, but what do you mean by that?" It forces them to confront the insult hidden in their words. At the end of the day, your worth isn't up for debate. Compliments should lift you up, not tear you down. If someone's words leave you questioning yourself, it's time to question their intentions. Surround yourself with people who see your value and aren't afraid to let you know it, without any strings attached. 3. They subtly exclude you from plans. It's the little things that sting the most, like realizing your so-called friends accidentally forgot to invite you to that dinner, that party, or that weekend getaway. They'll swear it was an oversight, that it was a last-minute thing, or worse, they'll assume you were too busy anyway. But let's be real. These aren't accidents. This is social exclusion in its sneakiest form. I remember checking my phone one weekend and seeing pictures of a group of friends having a great time at an event I would have loved to attend. The kicker? Not a single person mentioned it to me beforehand. When I casually brought it up later, they were full of excuses. "Oh, we thought you were busy." Or, "It was such a last-minute plan." But deep down, I knew the truth. If they wanted me there, they would have made sure I knew about it. Here's the hard truth. This kind of exclusion isn't just thoughtlessness. It's deliberate. It's a way of sending a message without saying a word. They don't want you there, but they don't have the guts to tell you to your face. Instead, they hope you'll just fade out of the group quietly without causing a scene. But here's the thing. If you keep accepting those excuses, you're giving them permission to keep excluding you. You're letting them decide your place in their lives rather than taking control of your own narrative. So, if you find yourself being subtly excluded from plans, don't just brush it off. Confront it. Ask the hard questions and be prepared for the answers, even if they're not what you want to hear. At the end of the day, you deserve to be around people who don't make you feel like you're constantly chasing after their approval or their attention. True friends don't forget to invite you. They make sure you're there because they genuinely enjoy your company. Or they're busy only when it comes to you. We've all heard it before. "I'm so busy these days. Sorry, I can't hang out." It's the perfect excuse. After all, who isn't busy? But what happens when you start noticing a pattern? They're always available for others, posting pictures of their outings, catching up with mutual friends. But when it comes to you, suddenly they're swamped. Here's the cold, hard truth. They're not too busy. They're just too busy for you. I remember reaching out to a friend I used to be close with, trying to set up a time to catch up. Every time I suggested something, they'd have an excuse. "I'm working late. I've got a lot on my plate. Maybe next week." Meanwhile, I'd see them hanging out with other people, having a great time. Somehow, they always found a way to make time for everyone except me. Here's the controversial truth. We've been conditioned to accept busy as a valid reason to be pushed aside. But let's be honest. People make time for what and who they care about. If they're constantly busy when it comes to you, it's not about their schedule. It's about their priorities. The harsh reality is that busy is often a polite way of saying, "I don't want to spend time with you." It's easier for them to blame it on their schedule than to admit that they're choosing not to include you in their life. But here's the deep message. Your time is precious, and so is your energy. Don't waste it on people who can't be bothered to make time for you. If someone is constantly too busy for you, it's time to reassess the relationship. You deserve to be around people who are excited to see you, who make an effort to include you in their lives. Not just when it's convenient for them, but because they genuinely enjoy your company. 5. They avoid physical contact like the plague. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Physical contact, or rather the lack of it. We're not just talking about romantic relationships here. Physical contact is a basic human interaction, a way of connecting and building trust. So what does it mean when someone goes out of their way to avoid even the most casual touch? The answer isn't pretty. They're sending a clear signal that they're uncomfortable around you. I once had a colleague who seemed to recoil every time I reached out for a handshake or a friendly pat on the back. At first, I thought I was imagining things, but then I noticed it wasn't just me. They were warm and tactile with everyone else. But when it came to me, it was like I had the plague. Here's the controversial part. Physical contact is a natural part of human interaction. When someone consistently avoids it, they're communicating a lack of comfort or connection. Sure, some people just aren't touchy-feely, and that's okay. But when it's selective, when they're fine hugging others but stiffen up around you, it's a red flag that something's off. They might not dislike you enough to say it outright, but their body language is doing all the talking. Here's the deeper truth. Physical contact is a fundamental part of human connection. It's how we show trust, warmth, and empathy. When someone avoids it with you, they're not just avoiding touch. They're avoiding closeness, intimacy, and vulnerability. They're keeping you at arm's length, literally and figuratively. So if you notice this pattern, don't ignore it. It's a sign that there's an underlying issue in the relationship. Don't be afraid to address it, even if it leads to tough conversations. At the end of the day, you deserve relationships where physical contact isn't something to be avoided. It's something that happens naturally and comfortably. 6. They disappear when you need support. Nothing reveals the true nature of a relationship like a crisis. When the going gets tough, you find out who your real friends are. So what does it say about someone when they vanish the moment you need them the most? It's not just a sign of flakiness. It's a neon warning that they're not as invested in you as you might have thought. I learned this the hard way during a particularly rough patch in my life. I was dealing with a major personal issue, something that really shook me to my core. Naturally, I turned to the people I considered close friends, expecting some level of support, even if it was just a text or a quick call. But guess what? Crickets. The people I thought would be there for me suddenly had every excuse in the book. I'm so swamped at work. Sorry, I'm just really busy right now. I'll check in with you later. Spoiler alert. They never did. Here's the brutal truth. True support isn't about convenience. It's about being there when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, and when it's the last thing you want to do. The people who disappear when you need them most aren't just being inconsiderate. They're showing you exactly where you stand in their life. They're saying without words, your problems aren't worth my time. But here's the deep message. Support is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It's easy to be around when everything's going well, but the real test of a relationship is how people respond when things fall apart. If someone disappears the moment you need them, they're not just failing you. They're showing you that they were never really there in the first place. So don't let their absence make you bitter. Let it make you better. Use it as a filter to sift out the people who don't deserve a place in your life. The ones who stick around, who check in, who show up even when it's inconvenient. Those are the people who truly matter. And those are the relationships you should nurture and cherish. At the end of the day, life is too short to invest in fair-weather friends. Surround yourself with people who will stand by you in the storm, not just bask in the sunshine. Because when you find those rare individuals who stick around when the chips are down, you've found something worth holding on to. 7. They gossip about you behind your back. Gossip, it's the social poison that spreads faster than wildfire and can burn down relationships in an instant. The thing about gossip is that it's never as innocent as people make it out to be. When someone you consider a friend talks behind your back, they're not just sharing a harmless story, they're actively sabotaging your trust, your reputation, and your relationship. I've been the subject of gossip before, and let me tell you, it's one of the most gut-wrenching experiences. There was a time when I confided in someone I thought was a close friend about a personal issue. I needed to vent, to unload some of the weight I was carrying, and I trusted this person to keep it between us. But within days, details of that conversation started circulating, twisted and exaggerated. It was like a game of telephone, except the message wasn't just getting lost. It was being weaponized against me. Here's the controversial truth. People who gossip about you aren't just venting or sharing concerns. They're playing a power game. Gossip is a way for them to elevate themselves while putting you down, all without having to confront you directly. It's cowardly, it's manipulative, and it's toxic. But here's the thing. You don't have to tolerate it. When someone gossips about you, it says far more about them than it does about you. It's a reflection of their own insecurities, not a measure of your worth. So if you find out someone's been talking behind your back, don't just let it slide. Confront them. Call it out for what it is, a betrayal. And if they can't own up to it or apologize, it's time to cut them out of your life. At the end of the day, you deserve to be around people who respect you enough to keep your confidence, not use it as ammunition. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not tear you down. Because when you find those rare individuals who have your back, no matter what, you found something truly special. Conclusion, the final challenge. Now, the question is, will you stay trapped in the cycle, or will you take control? Will you keep letting fake friends steal your energy, or will you rise above it? The choice is yours. But remember this, no great person in history was ruled by the opinions of others. The ones who changed the world were the ones who mastered themselves first. If you're ready to break free, reclaim your power, and start living like a true Stoic, make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Your journey to self-mastery starts now.